Hello, everybody, and welcome to another story stream. This story is going to be in the New World of Darkness, and it is going to take place with Jason Pierce and Rick, the vampire of Clan Mekhet. Now, before we begin, I do got a bit of a disclaimer that in the previous stream I called him James Pierce. His full name is Jason James Pierce. So that is canon to this story now. There was a slight mix-up originally, so you could put that. We could put that in some movie, probably some movie trivia or trivia, whatever you want to call it, on some inconsistencies, but inconsistencies blended in. So welcome to the story. We are going to call this one is called The Battle in the Sewers. Jason Pierce has spent some time in the insane asylum. He has been there for 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, he has gotten into a routine of breakfast, lunch and dinner, and medicine, counsel, and many more. He has a schedule to follow, and he truly believes that what he saw is real, which it was. Jason has felt very alienated from people, as that he is locked in a house full of people who say that they, seen their dead relatives, and that Godzilla is real, and even that aliens from outer space is real. In his mind at this point, he is willing to believe in anything among the supernatural. He does believe in the dead relatives, but Godzilla and the aliens is a little bit far out there for him. Jason was sitting down, having his dinner late one night. They served it to him late. Many of the guards are just watching over him. One of the guards came up to him and said, "You have a visitor, Mr. Pierce." Mr. Pierce looks at this big guy with, handcuffs and a nightstick in case he gets out of control, and he says, "Didn't ask for any visitors." "Well, we weren't asking either, sir." The guard walks away, and sits before him is Rick. Rick, with this smug smile, and said, "Mr. Pierce, I think you and I have a common enemy." Jason puts his food aside and folds his hands and says, "Really, what's the common enemy? I'm enemy of the state, known to have planted evidence and killed my coworkers, killed people who were in holding, and an innocent girl. So exactly what common enemy do we have?" "Well, you believe in What attacked you was a vampire. A true vampire. Not one from the movies. One as ugly and as strong as you say it is. I don't believe in that no more. I'm just waiting to get out of here so I can go spend my life sentencing for a mass serial killing on my own precinct. What if I told you, Mr. Pierce, that everything you've been talking about is true? That the humans simply don't want to accept the facts, or that they haven't found the evidence yet. All they had was a skeleton with slime. Jason thinks for a moment and he says, "You said humans. What, are you not one?" He's like, "Well, to be honest, Mr. Pierce, it's not that I'm not one. I am not human, yes, but I'm what you would call a vampire." Jason smiles for a moment and leans back. He's like, "Really? A vampire? Well, the one I saw was ugly as ever." Yes. Well, I would like to let you know that there's many different types of vampires, Mr. Pierce. That there's not just simply one that, simply one that looks like everything else or everyone else. That would say simply about maybe how all humans all look the same, and yet they don't. You have many different cultures, um, many different colors and everything like that. Like vampires, we have many different versions of ourselves. For instance, I am more or less part from an orderly vampire than the Nosferatu. I wouldn't say orderly, we just have we look differently than they do. I mean, that's it. And we have different customs. You said Nosferatu. Yes, it's another clan. Like I said, different from myself, different culture, different everything. We are all different. So I was attacked by this Nosferatu vampire. Yes. So what are you? Well, I don't expect you to understand, but there's, again, many different clans and factions of us. I am part of Clan Mekhet. Sounds Egyptian. It was derived, maybe. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and go through all the history of the clan, but we are part of a larger organization. So, like, what? You have your own government structure? He's like, yeah, something like that. Okay, so you're a vampire. So what are you here to kill me? Rick claps his hands together and says, "Oh, it's not that simple. Unfortunately, we have a bit of an issue, and by we, you mean you." Jason leans back in. He's like, "So you have an issue, and let me guess, you want my help." You're not as dumb as many would appear think you are, I guess. No, I went to school. Mr. Pierce, I'm here to offer you a deal. A choice that is not like what others get at all. I am looking to release you. What? Yes. Is it that hard to believe? I am looking to release you from this prison. Okay. So, what's the price of me being released? I need your help. The Nosferatu that attacked you might have been alone, but there's been many more found in my territory. What do you mean in your territory? Our vampire's political structure is a little bit different. We are given, say for instance, say me, I have my own domain. I run a certain part of Chicago. I do have a little bit of a pull in some organizations. But I'm there to protect it and keep certain creatures within the laws and confines of vampire law, as well as making sure certain creatures don't come in and expose our clan, expose our existence to the world. The world is not ready to handle, vampires. Jason leans in as he's noticing that he's feels like he's quoting vampires from like it's a movie. So, do you guys refer to yourselves as vampires? Because it sounds like you're really stretching that. Ric's like, well, we do have other names such as Kindred and the Embrace. So you guys, the term vampires was given to you guys later on in your... Yeah, we sort of adopted it into our own thing to make it easy for us to bridge the terminology. We, of course, have different terminology than you do. But you were once human, too. Yes. Yes. It's like a whole different world here. Well, it is a different world, Mr. Pierce. Look, I don't know how big this nest is. It is a nest or a haven for these vampires. I think they're existing somewhere in the sewers. As you can see, I pulled this. Ric pulls out a file and he opens it. Shows many missing persons reports that was actually filed with his precinct. I pulled this from your precinct. All these missing persons reports. I didn't even know about this. However, my bosses know about this, and they're not very happy. There's a lot of missing persons. The missing persons in just one small area of Chicago alone has actually been over by 400% than the rest of the city. Unfortunately, it is drawing unwanted attention. And maybe drawing unwanted attention to the existence of my kind. So, Mr. Pierce, I'm here to offer you some assistance as well as a deal. Here's the thing. I will let you out and you are a free man. Unfortunately, you will not be able to reinstate your status as a police officer. However, I can actually offer you a defense. A defense where you get out of here and the charges against you are dropped. Once we kind of somehow maybe pin this on another person. Jason looks at Ric and goes, you want to pin this on another person? Well, someone has to take the fall for you, Mr. Pierce. We can't just suddenly go, oh, he was telling the truth, and there's no body or evidence to it. We actually have to come up with evidence. Here's the thing. I'm offering you a way out. All I need you to do is assist me with eliminating this splinter group. I did find out from my higher-ups that the group that's operating within inside my domain is not following our laws, nor are they continuing to want to do so as far as anyone's concerned. And the clan that they're supposedly a part of, they've been excommunicated, which means they're free game and not protected under vampire law, as you would call it. We can go in and eliminate them without fear of prosecution from my people. I am asking for your assistance. You have taken one of these on by yourself. Yeah, and barely survived. You want me to help you eliminate a nest of these? How many's in a nest? 6, 7, 8? Could be up to 10, Mr. Pierce. It's like, yeah, I barely took one on. I think you were holding back, Mr. Pierce. I really do. You were in a police station, and you were trying to subdue something that was beyond your control. Plus, no one really helped you. You had no allies. You have me. And I am building up with some, weapons to help us in this matter, Mr. Pierce. I think I found their location. They're using the sewer pipeline to move quickly through my domain. I need your help. I do this for you, Mr. Ric, if that's your name. I don't think we established names, Mr. Pierce. Yeah, well, I heard the guard, you telling the guard that your name is Rick and you need to speak with me. I thought you weren't paying attention. Oh, I pay very close attention to detail, sir. And you weren't exactly being quiet. Well, seems like there's more to you than meets the eye, Mr. Pierce. Really, really does. So, how do we handle this? Well, in 48 hours, I'm going to release you. You will be fed and given some water, a more decent meal, in case this is our last, both of us. And then we go in 3 days. So be ready in 72 hours. 48 hours, you'll be released, and in 24 after that, we will, once night falls, we will be, I think it's going to be more or less 12. Once night falls on the third day, we will take care of them. So 36 hours. Enjoy your time. Or no, not 36 hours. In 60 hours. So enjoy your time. And rest up. I'm definitely looking forward to working with you, Mr. Pierce. Rick packs up the files and actually begins to walk away from the room. Rick spends 2 days just doing his normal, and then all of a sudden, he is taken into court. Once in court, he is met with an attorney, and the attorney actually releases all charges as they were able to pin it on someone else. They pinned it on what looks to be a homeless man. Mr. Jason was very sad because that homeless man probably did nothing and is now going to serve his sentencing inside the asylum, and if not in jail, which he probably will not make it. Once released, he was met with a limo, and the limo was taken to Rick's condo. Once inside, Rick fed him a nice steak dinner. Nice and scrumptious, medium rare, a baked potato, a sour cream, some chives on it, and butter. And green beans on the side. Jason finishes the meal and goes, "Oh, that was good, thank you." Rick smiles as he drinks a glass of what looks to be blood. Drinks it right in front of Jason. "I'm sorry, I know as a cop this must look weird to you. Just a tiny bit. So, what weapons do we have? What gear do we have? Well, nothing more than our mere clothes, as we need to remain as agile as possible. I have gotten you one of these. This is a 357 Magnum. I hear it does have some amazing stopping power. I will be doing this, a bat. Where are the crosses and the garlic and the holy water?" All myth. All myth, Mr. Pierce. One of the things that's not really much of a myth is the sunlight. Yes, we cannot be out in sunlight. That's why you've never seen me during the day. So, as the sun is approaching, you might want to get some rest, as will I. Jason sleeps on the couch and actually has a nice long rest on a more comfortable bed sofa than what he actually had inside the asylum. Once night begins to fall, both Rick, Jenna, and Jason all make it to the manhole that they were supposed to, which is actually in the back alley. Jenna accompanies them. Jason looks at her. "So, are you a vampire too?" Jenna smiles and goes, "No. Unfortunately, I'm what you would call my boss's familiar. He is my master, and I'm here to serve him. One of the two that I have, anyway. They let me feed on them. In exchange, I give them asylum, and I take care of them. And do whatever you want to them, I'm assuming, Rick." Yes, Mr. Pierce. Is this it? Is this the location? Jenna looks and says, "Yep, this is it." Alright. They begin to work together and take off manhole cover. Rick gets his bat, Jason has his gun, and they begin going down the steps with flashlights. Jenna, if you hear anything, remember you have to protect yourself. I got it, sir. Thank you. Just wait for us in the car. Jason and Rick are scouring the sewers, and according to his evidence and information that Rick counts as evidence, the vampire nest shouldn't be somewhere in the middle of all the locations of where people have gone missing and attacked, which they weren't very far from. So familiar, like, that's true, like you guys have control or power over them? What do you mean power, Mr. Pierce? Well, like they can't attack you or anything like that, like their free will is completely gone. It's like he's like, unfortunately, that's sort of a myth as well. Kind of a myth, kind of a fact. Like they do have free will, so that's the myth. The fact is, yes, I guess I do have a bit of control over them, but it's not like a supernatural thing. It's literally they are here on their own accord. Okay, that is not exactly what I thought you would have said. Well, Mr. Pierce, once you've been in my world, you have to learn what is fact and what is fiction. The movies, for number one, are all fiction. Some of them do have some facts in them, but not entirely true. Movies in this day and age is a bunch of bullshit. Always was. Has been the last 30 years. 30 years. How old are you? I am only 60. I am young for my kind. Still kind of a child learning to walk. I was turned at 27. I've only been a vampire for 33 years. Does it hurt? Did it hurt when you got changed? I remember some pain. It was very painful, yes. But nothing, I guess over time I just quit thinking about it. So, your vampire parent or sire, Mr. Pierce, they are called sires. Male or female? Female? Love interest? Oh, yes. Yes, until she left me. Abandoned? No, I was released. Released. Complicated. Little thing that makes my culture kind of complicated. She released me and then she left me. I don't know where she is. I have lost track with her for over the years. So, do you miss her? You could say I do. And hang on, Mr. Pierce. I think we're about to have company. They shine a flashlight right down one of the main entries, and deep inside appears to be food or humans remains that are all over the place. The walls are littered with dry blood. This is where they're at. They must be out hunting. So what do? Wait till daytime? No. Once Nosferatu get their full, they return to the Haven to stay safe, especially the ones in splinter groups. They know that when they're in a group like this, their kind don't like them roaming free without some form of control, and they probably have an idea that they are no longer protected by our laws. They will return promptly. We need to hide. Okay. But you need to actually hide your stench. Stench? Well, I mean, we can smell blood right through your skin. We need you to probably find a way to cover yourself in it. Jason Pierce looks at Rick like, are you serious? And Rick gives him that look of, you gonna get to it? And he's like, yeah, I need to cover myself in dead body blood to blend in. Rick covers himself in what is the blood of the dead and then hides underneath a couple carcasses. While Rick kind of hides himself into the shadows, waiting for the right time to pounce. I'm trying to think, what would this one be? I think it would be these kind of rolls. All right. As they've waited, they waited for like an hour. After an hour, they started hearing noises, laughter, like hyenas. Jason begins to get a little nervous, as that last time he took out a vampire or anyone from this clan, he almost did not make it out alive. He does sense the danger ever so approaching. Alright, let me do sort of a perception roll here. Nope. As they come in, 6 of them come in laughing like hyenas, not paying attention to their surroundings or know that their nest has been disturbed. They talk about their victims, and they brought a few down here. Some are still breathing. A couple of them are already lifeless. This one barely gave up a fight. We are pretty good. Our clan never really truly protected us, did they? Another one said. No, they didn't. Why even try to blend in when we can just take these things as food? This is our food. Rick pulls out his bat, and he waits for an opportune time when one is behind to strike. He sees 6 of them. He knows that him and Mr. Pierce is outmatched very easily. Alright, give me 1 second here. I'm going to set up 2, 3, 4. Alright, good. Alright, setting up some meters here. Alright, now we're kind of going to do a nice stealth attack, but he doesn't really have that, so... Nope. Rick tries to approach, but then trips over one of the arms of the bodies and falls right into the water. The laughter stops. Everyone drops their food as the water begins to ever so simmer. Someone's here. You sense it too. Someone is definitely here. Rick manages to stay underwater just for a brief moment, long enough for as they kept their attention averted. Rick manages to move right into range, pulls out his gun, and is getting ready to attack. Rick manages to launch off one shot right into one of the vampires. He fires his gun and hits one right in the back. He's like, there's more! There's more! Rick then comes out of the water, wielding his bat. And he begins wielding it with some strange curiosity, but Rick isn't much of a fighter. He begins swinging, but one of the vampires managed to catch it and takes it from him. And he's like, oh, shit. Alright, now the vampires are going to begin swarming him 3-on-3. And nope, does not. Hang on one second. Nope, does not make it at all. They begin trying to swarm over. Rick uses the bodies of the dead to keep the Nosferatu to keep the body between him and the Nosferatu that are swarming behind him, while he takes aim at another target. Rick, however, manages to recover his bat ever so quickly, just in time to try and strike it again. He furiously strikes another vampire right in the face. However, the vampire is still. However, he barely take any hurt from that, as there's very little blood. The vampire says, I love me some Mekhet in the morning. It's like, how do you know I'm part of that clan? We all know who you are, Rick. Okay, fair enough. Y'all know who I am. Rick manages to takes aim once again to try and keep the vampires from eating him. Let's see here. Sorry for the laughing. I just think this is kind of a long drawn out fight, but it's going to happen. All right. The vampire that Rick shot before, he actually put the gun right to his face and unleashed every bullet that he could right into the face of the vampire. There was nothing left of him, as the other two actually managed to force the body off. The three Nosferatu begin swarming Rick. Rick does sustain a minor injury, but nothing that he couldn't handle. Mr. Jason Pierce actually loses the body that's between them and is fully exposed, but not before he was able to take aim once again and attempt to protect himself from the other vampires. However, he emptied the gun before any bullets actually hit. At this time, Ric has lost his bat and has lost much of his blood. He's like, these gangs are a lot stronger than I thought they were. Mr. Jason then is also attacked real quick. And actually completely manages to escape from the clutches of his Nosferatu assailants by climbing up the mound of bodies that they've piled up over the time that they were feeding. Alright, I'm going to take a quick moment and look at the rules here, because Mr. Ric is actually not in a good state of mind right now. So I am going to look something up real quick to see if we have a rule here, to how this is going to end with him. This may end pretty good, or it may not. But we are going to find out. Just a quick second. If you guys are liking the story, I'm glad. It looks like we may be losing a couple characters today. May not. Who knows? Alrighty. Where are you? So not that one. Here we go. We'll do this one. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. So Ric takes a moment, and the Nosferatu notices his wounds are healing. Jason takes a moment and reloads begins to try and look for bullets to reload his gun, but then decided to take another stance for the matter to see how well it pays off. As the Nosferatu are approaching him, the stance he takes is of something of, how should I say? Give me a second. Of a combat stance, as that he is well diverse in the art of kung fu. It's like, finally I get to use this on someone outside of close quarters, or with enough room to battle, I should say. Never mind. Kind of messing up today. I do apologize. I'm a little bit tired, but it's what it takes to write a story. He takes a stance. As they approach, and once they are in range, he's gonna make this roll here. All right. One vampire approaches him, and he knocks him right in the face. Rick, Rick manages to pick up his bat again because that's the only thing he knows how to do. He's like, I'm not built for combat. But you know what? I gotta do what I gotta do. And all he's thinking is, why? Why did I even bother? He just swings the bat at one of the Nosferatu attacking him, and he's laughing. He's like, "Is this all that you have to offer?" It looks like that guy up there may actually offer us more of a challenge. Jason is then attacked from both ends on the two vampires that are on him, taking some blood dripping from him at this point, mixing in with the dead blood, which actually poses much of a threat. Jason is very worried on this as he doesn't know what's in that blood. At this point, he falls and he stumbles a little bit downward as the vampires are approaching. Okay. Let's see here. Let me see what I can do. All right. Jason did manage to squeeze off another shot at one of the vampires, but it wasn't enough to subdue him. Rick, however, is still swinging around his bat, ever so furiously, like, okay, I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die. Please, God, don't let me die. Jason hears that and goes, I thought you didn't believe in God. I don't. It is just a figure of speech. He manages to swing hard, knocking one of the vampires into the water. It's like, I swore I wasn't going to die. All right. Actually, we're going to do this. Nope. All right. All right. So the Nosferatu are at this point are getting very, very tired. Rick has decided that perhaps a hasty retreat would actually be more beneficial. And he begins going, Jason, we got to make it to the other side. Let's go. Let's run. There's obviously too many for us to handle. We need to bring in more people. He's like, yeah, and you didn't think about that. So Jason and Rick decides to make a hasty retreat on a good run here. Let's see here. That will be Jason's dice pool. And, nope. And then Ric's dice pool. I wonder how fast Ric is. Not very. One. Three. And then let's see here. Let's roll for these vampires here. Oh. Jason manages to make it to the edge of the sewer, up to the ladder where they began. However, he noticed that Ric was not behind him. He's not sure what actually has become of Ric's fate as he begins climbing the ladder. As he makes it to the top, a hand grabs him and lifts him up. "Where's Ric?" said Jenna. He looks at Jenna and said, "He's gone. He's dead. We need to get more people and need to figure out what we're going to do about this." "Wait a minute. You can't leave him down there." "I didn't leave him down there. He fell behind. What do you want me to do?" "We need to go back and get him." "Are you nuts? There's still, quite a few of them. We only managed to maybe take one out at best. There's 5 more down there." "What do you think we're going to do?" "We can't leave him there. I'm in his debt." "What do you mean in his debt?" "I owe him a debt. Let's just put it that way. I can't leave him down there by himself." "Okay, unless you have some weapons, Jenna, you're not getting him out of there. There's no way." "He will die down there." "I know he will die down there. He fell behind. I don't know what else to say. He's not very fast either. He's quicker than you would think." And yet I was able to outrun him. "Would you two stop arguing and climb up the ladder?" They looked down and Ric was already climbing up the ladder with the 5 Nosferatu fighting over who was actually going to climb up after them. He's like, "Okay, great. He's made it. Let's get out of here." So they climb up to the top, and once Ric makes it, they put the manhole cover right on the top as the Nosferatu are climbing the ladder. They make it to the edge of the car. Or to the edge of the car. They make it to the edge of the alley, get into the car, and they begin driving away, with Jenna at the wheel. As they're driving away, they begin breathing very, very heavy. Well, Jason begins breathing very, very heavy. Ric just looks like he's in shock. They watch and as the Nosferatu took to the streets. "Okay. I'm a dead man at this point." Jason's like, "Is that supposed to be a pun?" "No, no puns intended. It's my bosses are going to want me dead. They want us both dead. And I just freed a man at a cost. And now that person's going to want me dead. At this point, you owe me, but then I owe you. So we've got a problem. If they know that I'm the best protection that this domain has, they're going to start running rampant in the streets, and my bosses are going to want me dead. Sir, the house is no longer safe. We lost the other familiar." "Yep. At this point, just drive. Get us to a safe house. This was not what I expected." "So how strong would those vampires be?" "They're possibly older, even older than me. I can't simply believe that they were that tough. Not being young or newborns. They're definitely old. There's something else at work here. Much more. Has to be. So what do? We investigate. We investigate the situation, and we investigate further and figure out what's going on. But there's definitely a war coming. A war coming in Chicago. All right. At this time, the scene goes black, and you guys can imagine that music is playing. I do apologize for breaking character a little bit much more in this story. There was just a lot of battling going on, and they, aside from Mr. Pierce, they are definitely not much of a combat-oriented group. Jason Pierce is more or less combat-oriented. Ric kind of isn't. He is more or less of the cleanup guy after the fact. Meanwhile, they are heading to a safe house, and we will definitely pick this up in another adventure at a later time. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in and who's watched this today. I hope you liked it. Please leave your comments and like and subscribe below. I want to wish everyone a great and wonderful day.